Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? So, like Jörg was saying, Autodesk is really a company for professional design software. We develop all kinds of different design software, whether it be our customers developing the tallest buildings, the longest bridges or the newest roads, all the way to developing cars and all the interior parts of the cars. And we supply that kind of software to these professionals to design those things. But all the way further to actually movies. If you look at the stunning imagery of Avatar, that was done with our software. So we're very proficient when it comes to professional work in the design realm. Whether or not, where you land in that space, it doesn't really matter. But as Jörg mentioned before, what I want to talk to you about is really something different that we've been working on for the past, I'd say, 1.5 to 2 years. It all started with the sketchbook release on the on the iPhone, and the success that really had. So what I want to talk about is how does mobile and 3D objects really change the way we do things and the way we think about what is accomplishment, what is possible for us. But before we go there, I wanted to give you a little bit of a background from myself. About 16 years ago, let's say 1996, I was actually designing for the automotive industry. And I was designing interior parts like this luggage cover. And as you probably all know, the automotive industry requires you to develop really good prototypes that look and feel the same as the real deal will be. And it used to be that you would have to develop an aluminum mold and do a short production run so that you could get to these prototypes. But at that time, I went to Leuven in Belgium. There was this little tiny company that was originally a spin-off from the University of Leuven. And they had bought this machine. It was like a 250,000 euros worth machine at the time that could do 3D printing. And it was revolutionary. It was really new, and it kind of spoke to the imagination of what would be possible with an additive manufacturing method rather than a subtractive manufacturing method like we typically do. So we thought, this is going to break through in no time. It's going to be a couple years, and everybody's going to get access to this technology, and everybody's going to be able to use it. The reality was quite different, because it was still very expensive. It was new technology that needed to be developed, very much along the lines of augmented reality. It takes time to get it to a certain point. Now, if we look today, it's quite a different story. We feel we've finally gotten there, or at least we're on the verge of being there. About let's say 3 to 4 years ago, this technology really took off, and it was made available to the consumer market. So nowadays, you can actually find dresses in 3D printed, or hats, or maybe it's a guitar that was made by somebody, or little avatars, or toys that can be made, things like these, and they can be in color, or they can be in metal, they can be in ceramics. So very, very advanced technology that 16 years ago was like, the craziest thing that you could imagine, is now become available to all of us, right? So how did we get there, and what kind of things needed to happen in the marketplace and in our lives to come to this point, and where can we go from here? So we look at different trends within Autodesk. We're always looking at, what's going on in the marketplace, what do our customers need, of course our professional customers, but also our consumer customers. We now have like 11 million professional users, but we have more than 60 million consumers that are using our applications. So we look at all of those and what's going on there. And key thing here is that we're all connected. Everybody is always on. Whether it be through your mobile device that is a smartphone or that is an iPad, it doesn't really matter, you're on, and you're on the network, you're communicating with the people around you, but also with people across the globe. And that is really a fundamental difference to where we were about 5 years ago, when you didn't have that ability. Because nowadays, if I have a special passion, or something maybe that I thought not that many people would do or would be interested in the world. I can now actually get access through my mobile device, through my internet connection, to the whole globe and figure out whether or not there's other people out there doing the same thing. And that could be across the globe, but it could also be in my backyard. And now I can start communicating with these people, sharing creativity, just like Benjamin and Fabrication just showed. I can start doing artwork together, and it really doesn't matter where I am, at what time of the day it is. It's always and all the time accessible to me. So that's a fundamental change. Another thing that we see in the marketplace is that 3D has become common space. Everybody knows about 3D. It is, and I'm going to show you a little video here. Hopefully it works. It has become to the point where 3D is being used in commercials. This is Berlin. The facade of a building. I don't know if you've seen it. LG actually did a commercial there. It lasts for about 7.5 minutes, so I can't really show the whole thing. But it's very exciting. I would highly recommend going on YouTube and finding this video, because it shows you the kind of power that 3D can bring to our day-to-day lives. And that can change how we see things and how we work with things, just like the augmented reality can do, right? These types of things we will see pop up in our day-to-day lives more and more, and it'll become more common to us. Kind of going back to Minority Report. You know, a lot of the things that we saw in that movie are now showing up in our day-to-day lives, and we feel that it's the normal thing, right? So we'll probably see more and more of these kind of things as well. Let me go back here. So 3D, part of everybody's vocabulary. Another thing that we see is the part of creativity and personalization of design. Creativity has become more and more important in our lives. And if we want to be successful going forward, creativity is a very important part of that. We've always known that, but nowadays we are more aware of its need. And there's some research that has been done that says that a child of 10 years old, by the time they reach 10 years, they've lost 70% of their creativity. That is not a happy thought, right? But the key is, how can we retain that 30%? First of all, try and not have them lose that much, right? But also retain that and explore it, unlock it in everybody. Because clearly, everybody is creative. That is not a question. The question is, how do you bring it out of everybody? So another element of movement that we see in the marketplace is the returning to the making. When I went to San Francisco about 6.5 years ago, everybody was knitting. And it was really weird, because I thought, you know, this was the thing that my grandmother did. But now it was all of a sudden hip to knit your own sweater, and people would come together and start knitting together and stuff like that. And it was kind of like the indication of what was going to come. And if you look at websites like Etsy, I can now, if I wanted to sell my knitted sweater before, I would have to go to a craft fair and hope that somebody would come along who would like my sweater. Now I just go on Etsy and I sell this thing globally. And maybe I have knitted 1, maybe I've knitted 10, it doesn't matter. I can go and sell it right there. All my handmade stuff, no matter how crazy, no matter how sophisticated, I can sell on Etsy. The Maker Faire is another thing. It's a movement in the US, and we see the same thing in Europe. And when I went to the Maker Faire in 2005 in the Bay Area. And it was like a small thing, about 100 to 200 people were there. And I thought to myself, this kind of looks like a geek fest, you know, everybody in their garage making this new thing, then bringing it out as an invention and showing it off. Now, next week, this same Maker Faire is going on in the Bay Area, and the expectation is that there will be 150,000 people showing up, which is almost double from last year, which was 90,000. That kind of gives you an idea on how this thing is exploding, you know, this whole making, returning to the making. So if you put all those pieces together, where you end up with is this notion of personal fabrication. And personal fabrication is kind of like the next level of the Industrial Revolution. Because when we had the Industrial Revolution, we felt, you know, in order to get a quality product for an affordable price, we needed to go and do mass production. And that's what we've been doing all along. But nowadays, things have changed. Because now you can create a quality product at a very low volume for a reasonable price. That changes everything. Does that mean that mass production goes away? I don't think it'll ever will. But it does mean that I have options now. I don't necessarily have to go for mass production. I can make my own thing. Or I can buy from a local designer who has created something special. And it'll be affordable for me, right? That's the personal fabrication thing that comes to everybody, all of us, right? Now, if you combine that, all those movements and all that action going on with infinite computing. You know, before, computing was kind of scarce. You couldn't really get to as much as you liked. Nowadays, you can basically get to as much as you like at any given time and any given moment. Because if you think about your iPhone, just think about this. This device has 30,000 times the power of all the computing power that was available in the space shuttle when it launched. 30,000 times, right? Computing power doubles every year. The ability. So, and another fact which is interesting is that with my iPhone, I now have access to as much computing power as was available globally 4 years ago. Think about that. So if I have all that computing power to my disposal, what all can I do with it? It's craziness, right? Stuff that I used to not be able to do unless I had a humongous computer, I can now get access to on my mobile device. So, going back to the creativity, everybody's creative, as we said before. It really doesn't matter if you're skilled, unskilled, if you're result-oriented, or you are process-oriented. You are a creative individual. The question is just, how do we unlock the creativity? So at Autodesk, we decided, you know, after this experiment of Sketchbook, and, you know, the wow effect of that, you know, mobile devices do unlock the creativity in a lot more people than we could access before. We decided that we need to leverage our core IP and actually start bringing products to market that can be used by everybody and that can be accessible by everybody. So if we look at our professional track, we have a whole bunch of different tools there, but we're also developing a whole bunch of tools for that consumer to get access to. And when we think about the iPad or the iPhone or any kind of mobile device, whether it be Android OS or anything else, we are able now to bring to the consumer applications that were impossible to bring to a consumer before. Like this sculpting application, it's called 123D Sculpt, and I welcome you to try it out. It's all free software. An interesting story there is that we work with an artist, a makeup artist in the UK, and she was traveling from London to New York. And she played for 6 hours with this application, trying out new things about makeup, sculpting the face, putting different color on. And it's a whole new medium for this person to explore that wasn't there before. Another couple things that we're doing is maybe you want to capture your favorite object. And we have this application, it's called 123D Catch. It's available on the desktop, but today, actually, we're releasing this application on the iPad, currently only available in the US and in Canada, but will be available globally, where you can just take pictures with your iPad of your favorite object, and we turn it into a 3D model. You can then turn that 3D model into a physical object, or you can, you know, just play with it, modify it, do whatever you like. Another product that we released today, and you can download it right now, is on the iPad as well, which is called 123D Make. And it's basically a product where you can either use an existing kit that's in there and create a cardboard model of it, or you can do a revolve and create your own different models that maybe you give to your kids and they can glue it together, and it can be a nice family project for you to do. All of these technologies can become available now on mobile platforms because of all this compute power that we have available and the abilities and the different trends that we see in the marketplace. So you can only imagine what that brings to the table. Now, if you couple that with a community where you can share your ideas, we, for instance, have this Instructables.com where you could share what you've been doing. Maybe you want to create a rock with your face on it. You can go on Instructables.com, find an instruction on how to do it, and actually go and create this thing in 3D. Those things weren't possible before, right? They are possible today, and they can only spark your imagination of what is possible in the future. So it's only really a matter of time before we'll all have our replicator, and we will be making our own little drinks at home, you know, at any given time, whatever we want to do. With that, I want to wrap up and open up for some questions. Thank you.